Nostalgiacore explained.
Royalcore.
Royalcore isn't tied to one specific time period. It overlaps with many eras we're going to introduce in this video. What really defines it is the fantasy of royal life. The aesthetic was fueled by media like The Crown, the Bridgerton series, and films about Marie Antoinette. And it's also inspired by real-life spectacles like Grace Kelly's wedding or the grand ceremonies of the British royals. At its heart, royalcore is about imagining a world of glamour and extravagance, one that most people can never realistically attain. It's less about historical accuracy and more about reimagining what it feels like to live in opulence and refinement. You can capture the look with tiaras, opera gloves, ornate lace, pearls, and sparkling jewelry. Imagine stepping into a Rococo-inspired palace, climbing a grand staircase under gilded chandeliers, and dancing at a royal ball. That's the dream world royalcore invites you into.
Baroquecore.
Baroque style flourished across Europe from the early 17th to the mid-18th century, defined by its theatrical flair and lavish ornamentation that aimed to create a full sensory experience. The Catholic Church embraced the style as a powerful tool to captivate and move audiences on an emotional level. Baroque art often captures a dramatic moment in time, with figures emerging from deep shadows. The sense of tension comes alive through dynamic movement, bold compositions, and the striking contrast between light and shadow. Baroque architecture is just as grand. Ornate domes, glittering chandeliers, heavy drapery, and ceilings covered in vivid paintings that feel like glimpses of heaven. Everything is rich with gilded details and intricate carvings. Imagine dancing with the aristocracy in a grand ballroom, dripping in heavy jewelry and dramatic makeup. A modern reinterpretation, like the film The Favorite, in an unexpected way channels the spirit of this period. Opulent, dramatic, and unforgettable.
Rocococore.
While Baroque dazzled with drama, shadows, and overwhelming ornamentation, Rococo, popular in the early to mid-18th century, shifted toward intimacy and elegance. It softened the mood with pastel colors, delicate curves, floral motifs, and airy compositions. Rococo often appeared in salons, boudoirs, and private gardens, spaces tied to pleasure, romance, and sometimes even scandal. Its color palette leans toward light pink, ivory, mint green, and a touch of gold. Fashion defined the look with back pleats, corsets, and wide-hipped panniers that could grow extravagantly wide, creating voluminous skirts adorned with lace, ribbons, and bows. Hairstyles were powdered, styled into towering wigs decorated with feathers or jewels. Men's clothing matched the flamboyance with powdered wigs, embroidered suits, waistcoats, breeches, the knee-length trousers, and stockings. To bring rocococore into your own environment, imagine pastel floral wallpapers, gilded mirrors, crystal chandeliers, porcelain figurines, laced curtains, plush furniture, and fresh bouquets, capturing the playful yet aristocratic spirit of the Rococo age. Regencycore. The Regency era officially spans from 1811 to 1820, when the Prince Regent ruled in place of his father. The term often stretched across the broader Georgian period, running from the late 18th century to 1837. Regencycore, as an aesthetic, owes much to Jane Austen's novels and their film and TV adaptations from the 1990s and early 2000s. More recently, Netflix's Bridgerton series sparked a new wave of Regency fascination in 2020. While these are modern interpretations, women from the era often dressed in neoclassicism-inspired gowns with high empire waistlines paired with delicate accessories like shawls, gloves, bonnets, fans, and reticules. Hairstyles featured a center part with wave curls and hanging ringlets on the sides. Gentlemen's attire featured tailcoats, waistcoats, shirts, tight pantaloons, and polished boots. Interiors reflected the same neoclassicism influence: bright rooms, clean lines, Greco-Roman motifs, and refined furniture that set the stage for conversation, music, and social gatherings. Though the era itself was brief, regencycore continues to captivate us today, capturing a timeless world of courtship, glittering balls, and idyllic countryside strolls. Victoriancore. Victoriancore draws inspiration from one of the most complex eras of the past, the reign of Queen Victoria, from 1837 to 1901. This was a time marked by rapid industrialization, strict social codes, and an explosion of cultural and scientific developments. At its core, Victoriancore romanticizes the era's contrast between progress and restraint, drawing inspiration from the Bronte sisters' Gothic romances, Dickens's social drama, and the mysterious world of Sherlock Holmes. In the visual arts, the Victorian era also overlapped with movements like Impressionism, Post-Impressionism, and the rise of Art Nouveau, styles we'll dive into more deeply in other videos. Fashion plays a huge role in the aesthetic. Men's fashion leaned on tall top hats and long frock coats. For women, it meant heavily layered gowns with wide necklines, tightly cinched waists, and sweeping skirts that changed shape across the decades. Hairstyles featured intricate buns, braids, and curls, often topped with hats decorated with feathers or flowers. To capture the Victorian vibe in your space, imagine richly patterned wallpaper, velvet sofas, antique wood furniture, heavy curtains, marble fireplaces, and flickering gas lamps. Victoriancore is all about stepping into an ornate world of refinement, mystery, and dark romance. Edwardiancore. The Edwardian era spans the first decade of the 20th century, often extended to the years leading up to World War I. Edwardiancore reflects the optimism and elegance of the early 20th century. Films like Titanic and the first season of Downton Abbey, both set in 1912, have shaped the popular imagination of this period. Men typically wore tailored three-piece suits, which were more comfortable and practical than the heavier Victorian styles. Women's fashion embraced the S-bend silhouette, with high necklines, slimmer long skirts, and lightweight fabrics embellished with lace and embroidery. The Gibson girl, created by illustrator Charles Dana Gibson, became the beauty ideal of the age. Marked by upswept hairstyles and wide-brimmed hats, the style symbolizes not just elegance, but also the growing independence and liberation of women from this era. To capture the Edwardian mood, think of light, airy spaces filled with natural light, wicker furniture, and floral motifs. The environment was also deeply shaped by the flowing lines and organic forms of Art Nouveau, which gave the era its refined, decorative charm.